Greetings and welcome back once again to Castlegoat and to Gnomoria, and you may have noticed two fine fellows racing across the screen there. They're already going to work, my lord. That's very awesome of you, because those two fine fellows are none other than two nomads who arrived over there a little while ago. Right, I have already consulted with Chaoticles on who these two nomads are going to be, though I've lost the other one. Wow, damn. Let's go to the population screen. It'll be easier to find them there. Now, I've got to work out which of you two has the better combat skills. Let's look at Oozle Buns. What a fantastic name, Oozle Buns. You've got a 10 in gun. What about your friend there? Nabimblefus. Nabimblefus. Well, you know what? That's fine. That name is almost good enough that I would keep it, though. No, you haven't got a good gun skill. So, Oozle Buns shall from henceforth be known as Death Cobra. There we go. Now, Death Cobra is going to be a member of the others, whereas Nabimblefus, I'll come back to you, Nabimblefus, because your name is also, I'm really tempted to keep it. Right, let's see, which of the formations, I think it's Night and Day Watch both have full there. So, Death Cobra is going to be joining, let me actually assign you properly, damn it, I'm pressing the wrong things. Death Cobra shall be joining Dragbarth in the Twilight Watch, which means we need a new gun. Right, there we are, Death Cobra. Enjoy your new job. I should also make you an other. Where are you, Death Cobra? Not Deathbot, we want Death Cobra. There we go. You are now a member of the others. Now, Nabimblefus, honestly, that name is so amazing, but I can't say no to Tiger Lee. Okay, this is just the way it's going to have to be. Tiger Lee, or rather Nabimblefus, shall be henceforth known as Tiger Lee. However, what are your best skills there? Woodcutting, okay. Weapon crafting, well, you're not going to be our weaponsmith. Animal husbandry, let's have a quick look. What kind of roles have we got? We've got 2 Beastmasters. We've probably got 2 lumberjacks already. Have we got 2 carpenters? Yes, we've got 2 carpenters. Okay. What else might we do? You've got... Oh, really, that's it. Woodcutting is your highest skill. Animal husbandry could do with a bit of a fleshing out. Oh, perhaps I could make you a fleshsmith. We do have more butchers now. That would be useful, certainly. We could also perhaps do with some more druids. We've got more than enough boothsmiths and chefs. We don't need any more of those. Let's continue having a look. We've got some inventors, perhaps. No, I think for you, it's going to be either druid or fleshsmith, and I think we need more fleshsmiths. So it is to fleshsmithery that you shall be going. Well, actually, I guess I could check this out. No, it is fleshsmithery for you. Welcome to the fort. Oh, that's fantastic. Though I'm fairly certain at this point we are just not going to be getting any new nomads for quite a long time. 44 gnomes in the fort. Now, I have begun work over here. Starting out with most of this are not going to be walls. These are going to be taken away. These are going to be seating and something else in here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do there, but this is all going to be a sort of meeting room. And I've decided to have the chairs and seats going around the room, kind of the whole round table, so that no gnome is given precedence over another. All speakers are equal in the eyes of those gathered in that room. So I will be continuing to work on tiling that. Otherwise, though, things are fairly quiet, actually, in here. I've done a little bit of work. I'm not sure if I showed this. I've made a little path running down there. So the patrol route now goes along here, around, along, and then down, because I wanted to keep that clear for any future corridors that might allow our captured enemies to leave. If they've repaid their debt to gnomish society by performing admirably in the gladiatorial pit, then we will allow them to leave. I really do wish though that I could put food in there. That would make this gladiatorial pit so much better. But so that they can come down here, there's a nice little walkway with some statues. Just a little bit of a chill out area, really, because they're going to be on patrol, possibly doing horrible things. We don't want them to be listening to these things that we've written on the walls or paying attention to them. We need them to remember that they are actually dapper gnomes. They're just pretending to be evil. It's just an act. So we've got some lovely statues there to remind them of their dapper forefathers. Right. The other thing I'm really starting to think about is steam power. As I've mentioned, I want to set this area up so I can lock it off, fill this with loads of dirt or stone or whatever we really want to make golems, and then push a lever that would activate this or cut power, however we need, to allow the golems access to this zone. And I've got an idea of how I'm going to do that. I'm thinking I'm going to use, rather than trying to bring power down from above, where I still might do that for this part, have a separate area with windmills, but definitely down in the depths we are going to go even more high-tech than that, and we're going to actually have a fueled engine that will run the power when we need to. So I'm going to have to design this in such a way that when this hasn't got power, it's linked up to allow anything in here access out, but when it is powered, it's sealed off. That's the way I'm probably going to have to set this up. But for now, I'm going to carry on building and tiling and generally improving the fort. So I shall see you when there is something interesting to report. And welcome back. Now, I'm not sure, but I'm fairly certain we're about to be invaded. I've already pulled the lever. There we go. The reason I was so sure is because we had a sudden and quite atrocious lag spike out of nowhere while I was building down here. So I quickly hurried up and I pulled the lever just in case and brought you back just in case. And it seems that was the prudent thing to do. As you can see down here, I'm working on the golem area, but that's going to have to go on hold for a little while. Now, let's see. Where are you? I can hear you're out there. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Where are you, you beastly little goblins? Let's see. Are you around here at all? This is wishful thinking, because this is the furthest away from the opening to our fort. And that would give us the most time to pull the lever. Where are you over here, perhaps? Aha! Well, actually, that's not too bad. You are still quite far away, but my goodness. There are only 3 tiles with enemies on them. I imagine, well, other than the raiders, I imagine each one of these tiles is going to have, oh my lord. Perhaps we killed a very well-loved 2-headed ogre. That's my only guess. Perhaps it was a famous ogre playwright, and incensed by the death of their beloved warrior bard, they have sent all of their 2-headed ogres to wreak bloody vengeance upon the gnomes who would dare to use his bits as a taunt. Or her bits. My goodness, there are a lot of enemies there. How many raiders have we got? That's actually not too bad. Well, yeah. If all of these are... Whoa, okay, we're starting to get crazy amounts now. I'm fairly certain there aren't enough things in Castlegoat, even if you broke Castlegoat down to its blocks, to satisfy this many raiders. Even if the worst happened and we managed to seal some people off in the mines and hope to just wait it out, I'm fairly certain there would be no waiting out an invasion of this size. The raiders would never be satisfied. They'd eventually leave with and come back with like goblin tunnels. It would all be over for us. Right, come on. Someone, please. Please, someone. Yes? You may be about to save the fort? Who are you? Flying staplers! You beautiful vampire. Okay. Well, you're a very nice vampire. I'm not sure. Well, you probably are beautiful, actually. Vampires don't tend to age. I forgive you for all of the looming. I think I speak for everyone in the fort. If you pull that lever and don't get distracted by food or something, we all forgive you. Whatever you may have done, I know to you it was just a little nibble, but, you know, people kind of like having blood. But we forgive you completely. It's whether the game will forgive me. You hear that creaking? That's not the sound of the windmills. That's the sound of my computer. It's the sound of my computer creaking under the enormous stress of trying to recalculate all of these goblins' paths. I would like it very much if the game would pause so I could have a look at what they were doing. But I don't think it's going to. The game has decided that it stopped. Is this it? Is this perhaps the end of Castlegoat? It will not go out with a bang, but with a whimper. Well, actually kind of like a grinding creak. Okay. We're back to life. Very good. Now they are spreading out a little bit. We've also spotted a couple of them. Well done. Try not to wet yourself. It's very, very hard on the... Oh, actually, you're not wearing metal armor. Okay, you can wet yourself. We'll just get you more two-headed ogre leather armor. We'll be able to make you a different set of two-headed ogre leather armor for every day of the week. Right. Are we coming? Yes, they are. We're dumping some, I think, already. Let's go have a look. Yes, we've got some. Got quite a lot, actually. Yeah, well done. Let's keep going. That's right. Dump them all. Down into the pits with you. No. Not as happy anymore. There aren't quite as many raiders on that tile, so they're having a bit of a hard time breaking that door down. I approve of this, honestly. And yeah, I may actually have to pause this whilst we wait to find out whether they break through the doors or we get them all in the pit, because this lag, it hurts. It really hurts. I will pause the recording and I shall return you to either the news of our victory or the news of our impending death. So I shall see you in a few moments. And as quickly as it began, it was over. More or less. I mean, it wasn't really that quick, not from my perspective anyway. There was at one point a minute or so where it was just stalling and just repeating the sound of hatches opening and closing over and over again. But as you can see, we are already fast at work rebuilding the doors that were knocked down. Thankfully, the ogres didn't manage to break these doors, but they came close. They came really close. There was at one point where there was a very large group of ogres and soldiers. I couldn't see if there were any raiders in amongst them, just all along this hatch line, and I was genuinely worried that that was it for Castlegoat. And then the sound looping started for about a minute and a half. I timed it up to a minute and then stopped, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was about a minute and a half. And I honestly was starting to think, right, I'm going to have to Alt F4 because the game has just locked itself in. But no, we are safe. We are out of the danger zone at the very least. And I think I've given enough time for all of the goblins in the pit to be spotted. So we're not going to be having spam. But there were a couple of goblins that landed on each other and killed themselves. Probably a mercy, really. They knew what was coming. They'd heard the stories. They didn't want their brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers to endure that sort of punishment. So they tearfully put them to death, knowing that it would be a better fate than what was in store for them. Now, I've already set up the patrol room. Route. I've checked out who was on patrol, and I've assigned 2 squads, so there will be 2 shifts. And thank you to everyone who suggested names. I finally settled on the Judgement of Carrion. Now, 2 reasons, because it's a reference to something that I really like. If you get the reference, well done you. I'm not going to reveal what the reference is. It's up to you to find it out if you don't already know. And the other one is it actually kind of made sense. What are these goblins in our death pit? They may be alive right now, but really, they're dead. We know they're dead. They're just dead goblins that haven't realized that they're dead. They're walking around, they're bleeding, but eventually those 2 things will stop, and then they'll be really dead. So, in effect, they're living carrion. And it is the job of our others to pass judgment upon them. They will decide which goblins and ogres and soldiers and raiders deserve a merciful, swift death at the end of a bronze bullet, or which ones need to suffer, need to wait out, bleeding as they clamber around days setting off traps or just, you know, resorting to killing each other in desperate attempts to be merciful. Yes, I think perhaps our gnomes are. I think someone smuggled coffee into Castlegoat. It's the only way that they would be becoming this evil. Nevertheless, it's going to take us a while, but I'm eager to see the others actually using this weapon. Oh, that's right. Oh, it seems that we have not spotted them all yet. Who's eating? Okay. Alex Slayer. Well done. Oh, Alex Slayer. Are you eating? Is that made of goblins? You are. That's fantastic. Alex Slayer, you have definitely been dipping into coffee somewhere. Tell me where it is. Tell me who's supplying it to you. I promise you will have immunity from being dumped in the goblin pit. I can't say fairer than that. Tell me which scallywag is sneaking in the forbidden substance that's turning everyone so evil in this fortress. My lord, it's just a struggle to even be dapper at this point. Still, that was kind of funny, and the fact that I find it funny is just proof that I need more tea. But we will continue on. Oh, there we are. Who's down there? That is Drygworth. Well done, Dryg. Stepping up to the gruesome duty. But it looks like there are still quite an enormous amount of them that haven't been spotted. So I'm going to save you the torment of watching this just snapping back to the goblins every few minutes. And I'm going to pause the recording there. And I'm going to continue on with the tiling and just try to not think too much about how undapper Alex Slayer has become. I shall see you soon. Wow, this is a little bit inconvenient. We have Mance in here, but I completely missed the messages because I had basically become so used to just unpausing whenever it stopped because I assumed that goblins had been spotted. So yes, we have a slight issue and we've missed an opportunity to dump a bunch of Mance into the goblin pit, alas. But I've set the warriors to go and engage. Unfortunately, it's during a time when I've been trying to re-equip them. So, Elzendorf and Troll of Reason do not have breastplates. So, with that in mind, I think it would be a better idea to have the Rumoured Strikers and the Mightbringers also lend a hand. In fact, I would like the Day Watch, the Night Watch, and the Twilight Watch to also go there. Now, I'm having to change my mind on the way we're going to be using this patrol route. I don't think I can afford to use it when there's this many enemies in there. I have been having to babysit the others the whole time. And that includes just watching them to see if they're starting to die of thirst or starving. And if that happens, changing their squad formation to avoid enemies and changing their position to use maintain distance to try and get them out of there because they're just too dedicated to do it themselves. And that has resulted in an enormous amount of trouble, as you can well imagine. Now, let's hope that no one loses any body parts and dies. That would be a horrible way to wrap this episode up. But we should be okay, I think. Especially now that more and more of our troops have arrived. Thankfully, Flying Staplers has been working very, very hard on making all of the armor. We're very, very close now. We've got all of the helmets. We've got all of the tower shields. So I'm pretty happy with the way things are going. Let's also get rid of you as well. Everyone to attack, please. There we go. Finally, the Poisonous Ancients. And that should be the end of you. In the meanwhile, though, we need to fix these doors, don't we? Let's get them going. But it looks like it's going to be a while before we're able to get in there and gather up all of the metal and, well, a small amount of the goblin and ogre bits, because the vast majority of them will have rotted by the time that we can actually get in there. I definitely need to start looking at training up our militia to use crossbows. I think at that point we will actually be able to fight them properly by having militia squads up there. We'll have lots of steel equipped crossbow gnomes and blunderbuss gnomes. You know, improving the blunderbusses is a big thing as well, and just getting a constant supply of steel bullets so that we can kill things much faster. I think all of these things need to happen before we really start to look at sending out much bigger insults than this. And in fact, I might even go back to only sending out an insult for 5,000 because this has really put a strain on my computer. You may have already noticed. But once we've actually got the golem set up, then perhaps I can use these guys. Because you'll get all of the items back that we use to make the golem when the golem dies. So, I could start just putting steel ingots in there. Just a lot of steel bars in there and create steel golems. They would hopefully be able to thin out the herd just a little bit. But for now, I'm afraid I'm going to have to let a lot of time pass whilst I try to get my building work done and wait for the majority of these guys to die off. I will be periodically sending in our sentinels to try and get a little bit of training, but I think that perhaps, by and large, I'm going to be using the Judgement of Carrion and, in fact, the shooting gallery up here for dealing with the smaller attack waves, because they are not an issue for our troops to deal with. On the plus side, I'm going to have an enormous amount of worn iron that I'm going to be able to just trade off. Possibly to the musical tooth, in order to get an enormous amount of steel. Or rather just iron ingots and gold. Yes, we may be able to fill this room out with more gold statues. I am looking forward to that. But that is it from me. I do hope you've enjoyed. And look at our mostly steel-equipped squad down there now. But as always, until next we meet, do take care.